Hey there, Mountain McKenna. Just hanging out, getting ready to go to bed here in not too long. Staying overnight. I've been up in the mountains this weekend trying to capture some footage of nature with my drone and camera. So just having a little adventure. Plus, it's really hot where I live, and up in the mountains, the air was just so beautiful, dry, cool. So it's just such a relief to be able to get out of that stuffy unbearable heat and air pollution down in the city. So, anyway, really got sidetracked there because the reason I'm making this video is I had a really special thing happen to me today. And the whole purpose of my day was to go out and find some places out in nature where I could find some really good drone footage. And it was more challenging than I thought to go up in the mountains. I thought, oh, the mountains are going to be great. And it was cool, and I really liked being here. It was for the climate and all that stuff that I already talked about, but flying a drone in the mountains provides a little bit of a challenge. If unless you live in an area where the mountains are very open with not a lot of trees, and then, but that wasn't the case for me today, and so I learned that. If you're going to go to the mountains to try to get drone footage, and you're going to be able to watch your drone and keep a good eye on it and get good footage. It's probably not great to be in a densely wooded, densely forested area. So that's just a lesson I learned today. But hey, I went out exploring. I tried. I did get some footage, and maybe I'll be able to piece something together out of all that. But it's very interesting. I was born and raised in North Carolina, and we have bears in North Carolina. Most prominently black bears. There may be we may have other types of brown bears. And I am 52 years old, and I'm going to be turning 53 in a short time period. And I spent a lot of my time as a young person, from the time I was in seventh or eighth grade up until the time I graduated high school, practically half the summer each year, roaming around the mountains on mountain bikes, rock climbing, going on overnight backpacking trips, spending a week on the Appalachian Trail each summer. Not only that, actually went to my first couple of years at a small private school. My first couple of private, excuse me, my first uh, couple of years of college at a small private school up in the mountains. And I've never, in all that time and all that experience, I've never seen a bear in the wild. Of course, I probably saw one in the zoo. I don't remember any experience ever seeing a zoo. I think they used to have a bear in a cage up at Tweetsie Railroad. I probably saw that, but for the life of me, cannot remember ever seeing a live bear. And apparently, I have kind of a friend of the family who lives in Asheville, North Carolina, up in the mountains, and sees bears all the time, right out his front window, right out his door, taking pictures of them. And so apparently they're very prominent. And I went to two hiking places today. I went to Graveyard Fields off the Blue Ridge Parkway, and then I went to Balsam, I think it's Black Balsam Mountain, which is kind of near the Shining Rock Wilderness, which I've spent a lot of time in. That's what I was talking about, all those adventures I had as a kid and never seen a bear. But today there were signs, literal signs, not, like spiritual signs, like I'm interpolating any of this. But I saw both at Graveyard Fields and also in Shining Rock Wilderness, literally have signs that these are active bear areas, and to be careful, and to not bring food with, not put food out and leave food out, basically, and then also it tells you what to do if you see a bear, which I was kind of surprised what they say to do if you see a bear, because running may not make sense, but that's your first instinct to me if I see a bear. But apparently the strategy is to make a lot of noise, make yourself real big, and try to scare the bear away. Because if you run, the bear will chase. And apparently that won't work out well, and we don't want that. But anyway, so this I ended up seeing the first bear I've ever seen in the wild today, and it just when it happened, it was fast, and I was so excited because I had this kind of had bears on my mind all day from seeing the signs, and I remember having conversations with people in this past year at least once. I think it probably more than twice, and just telling people that I know. And it's funny that I spent all this time in the mountains in North Carolina and the smokers. I actually hiked the Appalachian Trail one summer with a couple of people at this camp from uh, the southern end of the Smoky Mountain National Park to the northern end, which is about 90 miles. And it took, I think we did about an 8 night trip. And the shelters have these cages on them. Most eight Appalachian Trail shelters are three face, right? There's an open face on the front, and it's not a big deal. But up in the Smokies, they have actually like chain link fence on the front side, so when you're sleeping at night, the bears won't come in and mess with you. So, long story short, I was driving back from all this adventure seeking and exploring that I'm trying to get this, uh, all this adventure seeking that I was uh, out here doing today. And I decided I was going to stay overnight up in the mountains and do some more exploring and have some fun tomorrow because Charlotte's still going to be a mess, temperature wise and air wise, and maybe cooling off later. But kind of lost my train of thought there. So I just did a little dance like this. And I just tried to pretend like I wasn't even trying to tell a story. I'm not trying to tell a story. All right. So back to the point of the story is I was up on the Blue Ridge Parkway, kind of so I was up on the Blue Ridge Parkway and I was far kind of south of Asheville on 276, up in the Shining Rock Wilderness and Graveyard Fields. And after I had done all the trying to find the photography opportunities that I was looking for. I decided that the sun was getting low, and I got in the car and I started driving on the Blue Ridge Parkway back to towards Asheville. So I would just stay in Asheville, and tomorrow I'll go out and do some fun stuff too. And it was really beautiful time to be driving on the Blue Ridge Parkway with sunset and all the overlooks that they have along the Blue Ridge Parkway that overlooking the mountains. I stopped actually several times, so I didn't really want to because I was hungry. I wanted to get, but there was as the sun was setting on either on both sides of the parkway as I drove by, there was just so many opportunities to stop and take in some of the natural beauty and take a few pictures and footage, which I did, and I'll try to make a video out of those and share them. But getting back to the whole bear story, so I was driving on the Blue Ridge Parkway and driving, I think it's north into Asheville, and so I was decreasing in elevation, and I came around this corner, and it was the Blue Ridge Parkway is just lush vegetation on both sides of you. So there's trees and there's shrubs, there's blueberry bushes, and there's mountain laurel. There's all kinds of vegetation around. And I'm coming around this bend, probably about half an hour on the outside of Asheville. And this this baby black bear comes as I'm like driving 40 miles an hour on the Blue Ridge Parkway, comes crawling out of like the shrubbery of the side of the Blue Ridge Parkway. And he gets about like maybe three-quarters of the way out of the shrubbery, so almost his full body is there. And like his hindquarters, he's still not like fully out of of the woods. You know, he's kind of like out on the grass where they've mowed with most of his body, but his hindquarters are kind of still. He's just like checking out. He poked his most of his body out, and he's like checking out, looking to turn his head side to side. And as I'm pulling around the corner, I just was like, "Oh," you know, because it happened so suddenly and it happened like really fast and I wasn't expecting it, but bears had been on my mind all day, so it just gave me this thrill. um, and as he was turning his head side to side, he kind of looked at my car. I felt like he looked at me, but it was probably just the fact that I'm in this car going 40 miles an hour down this road, and this baby bear was like, "Oh, I don't need to be around here." But anyway, as soon as he like looked at the car, and I looked at him, and I felt like we made eye contact for like a split second. Uh, he turned around and bolted back down into the woods, and I just am so feel like this was almost kismet, almost meant to be that I had this experience. It wasn't a frightening experience because I was in my car, I was going 40 miles an hour. And the bear was a baby bear, and it was a flash of a second in which I saw him because of the speed I was going and the way he was coming out, and then turned around and went back in. And it was just beautiful. It was just this beautiful thing that happened. And as I said, with all that experience, all the probability that I should have seen a wild bear at some point in my life, and at 52 years old, have not. And then just for the first time today, have seen a wild bear. Um, it was just a magic moment for me. I I can't say it any other way than that. It was just a magic moment, and I feel so blessed. And I hope that baby bear went back right back to his family, and they were all safe and are nestled down in the mountains tonight, getting a good night's sleep. And I'm so thankful and grateful to have had that experience. And that's it. That's what I wanted to share. So I had to get that off my mind because I knew as soon as I saw that I was like, I gotta post about this. I gotta share this story. And I wish I had photography, you know, to kind of evidence the story. I wish I, but it's just the situation didn't permit it, and it was deeply spiritual. It was wonderful. That's it.